So if you say, well, no, South Africa, we've got to grow this economy at 4%. How do we do it? Very simple. Go build stuff. Don't go shopping. I'm not saying don't shop. We have to shop. Please keep shopping. But it's not about we need more shopping. No, keep shopping, but then build more stuff. And it's the building the stuff that makes the key difference to every economy. And so if you said to me, if we take this fixed investment from 15% to 20%, what happens? South Africa will grow to over 4% GDP. How do I know that? Well, I know that because if you go back to 2006, 2007, 2008, we got the fixed investment over 20%. In those 3 years, each year, South Africa grew the economy by more than 5%. We added 500,000 jobs or more than 500,000 jobs a year by doing that. So we've done this in the recent past. Obviously, at the time, we were building for the Soccer World Cup. That doesn't mean we need another Soccer World Cup. But what it tells us is that you've got to go build stuff, just not stadiums. So build stuff that we need. Build a railway, build more power stations, build water plants, build the stuff, and the economy will grow. You'll add jobs. And then those people who've got new jobs, they can increase shopping. And then everybody benefits, right? So that's what we've got to do. Now, government's aware of this, finally. They worked it out. The problem for government is they don't have the money, right? So you say to government, build this stuff, and we don't have money because we've got too much debt and we're trying to be disciplined, etc. So we've got to then realize, oh, we've got to partner with the private sector. And so that's why we keep talking about the private sector partnership, because it's the only solution that's possible. Fortunately, the positive is that there's now good developments. Look at energy. It's now up at 17,000 megawatts, private sector renewable energy projects. A power station is 6,000 megawatts, typically in South Africa. This is 3 big power stations we've put in place, driven by the corporate sector. Last year alone, 600 companies initiated renewable energy projects. And if I look at the NERSA website, more companies are adding projects every month. This isn't stopped. So don't think of this, oh, we built it and that's the end. No, more companies are adding more solar plants. And how did this happen? It's happened because government deregulated, government changed the rules, government said we will allow the private sector to invest in the energy space, and the private sector said, thank you very much. Now the government is working on expanding the transmission lines. You're going to see that being announced this year. And we're going to be using the private sector to build more transmission capacity. It's going to cost a fortune, but there's a realization we've got to do that. And so private sector is going to be appointed to develop the transmission capacity. Please watch for that later this year. We've also got good initiatives in rail. Look at what happened to our rail. We got to look at the chart, 220 million tons of goods being transported on our rail, and then that collapsed to 140 million tons. Government saying, no, you can't do that because all of those goods went onto a truck, which went onto the road, which has destroyed the roads. So how do we rectify the rail system? Well, we appointed private sector operators. The government has appointed 11 operators. They tell us 7 of them will be functional in the first quarter next year. On top of that, a company called Traction, which is a private sector South African company. They're the biggest rail operator in Africa. They spent 3.4 billion buying 46 locomotives and 920 wagons from New Zealand. Why New Zealand? Because those locomotives fit South Africa, and those things will arrive in June and July this year. That deal is done. That's not, oh, we maybe possibly will be doing this deal. The way we maybe possibly will be spending, building high-speed rail. No, this deal's done. The locomotives are going to arrive in June and July. They're going to get spray painted, and then they'll be used by the private sector to help re-energize the rail system. So that's a very positive development. And I'm expecting more will be added to this as we go into next year and beyond. And then the third key development is we finally signed the contract with the Philippines company. It's been years. This has taken 3 years. But the Philippines company signed a deal, a 25-year contract to run Pier 2 Harbor, which is the container port within Durban Harbor. It's the biggest container port in South Africa. It's critical to our imports and the efficiency of distribution of goods. The Philippines company runs 34 ports around the world, and they signed a 25-year contract. They own 49% of Pier 2. Government owns 51%. They're going to invest a huge amount in upgrading the port capacity. And I've got no doubt that in time, this will add to the efficiency of Durban Harbour. And what Barbara Creasy as the Minister of Transport has said is, if this works, we're going to do it for other ports. So these developments are critical for us, right? Because they are clear examples of government realizing we need to invest, we need to build stuff, we need infrastructure, we don't have the money, we have to partner with the private sector. And that process is underway with many more projects in the background. I only want to focus on things that have actually been announced that are happening. But if I listen to the meetings I'm in, there's lots that's been worked on. So I'm optimistic in a year's time, there'll be more stuff being added. So all of that's good.